All right, so if you somehow get lost, you can come back underneath the QR code, and you will be able to see. Hopefully, you will be able to find out what you need to do. Okay. So as you can see, the rundown for today would begin with invite all the students to scan the QR code to visit this page. Are we all set for this one? Anyone who is not here yet, let me know. Okay. So I also like to invite everybody to register for Notion. Again, I would assume that most of you have done that. If you haven't, then take your time. Register for Notion, log in with your HKBU email address, and set your name. I would also invite you to join the Notion AI waiting list. Okay, so because the Notion AI is basically using the GPT-3 chat. Have you heard of that? GPT-3 chat. So it's like AI that can generate text. So I can give you an example. Let me see. Any word. So how about this sentence? So this sentence right here. Well, actually, I use the same example. So AI can help us write more effectively as university students and scholars. So maybe I can change it to secondary school students, right? And then if I use AI assist, I got a couple of options. One of the options is to make longer. Okay. So basically the AI can help me to generate a whole paragraph. Okay. And if you join the waiting list, hopefully in a few weeks you will be able to use this as well. Of course, it's very controversial, right? So we have to figure out how to use it in a responsible way without violating the honor codes of the university. But please do join the list. I'm going to put a comment here. If you joined, then you can just react to the comment. Okay, so you can react to the comment like anything, like put a hand here, raise your hand, or anything. Okay, just react. Can you do that? Okay, good. Yeah, go ahead. Or you can do it later. Okay. All right. So now the next step is to invite all the students to edit the space below. So we're in Friday section now. So we have, let me go through the name list here. Chi Hugh Men. Are you here? Chi Hugh Men is not here. Okay. Hero is here, right? And Hero has done quite a bit of writing and preparation already. Okay, thank you. And Ko Jo In, not here yet. How about Shang Yun Lam? Okay, so should I call you Shang Yun or Kate? Jade. Okay, Jade. Okay. So can you edit this space? Maybe just write a few words, okay? And then Leo has already written something, which is good. And then Natalie, is Natalie here? Hi, Natalie. And what's your major? English major. Okay. All right, your English major. Yeah, please write a few words. Okay. And then we have got Park Huynh Sue is not here yet. Hopefully, he can join us later. And Shannon Yi. I remember Shannon Yi sent me a message saying she cannot join today. Let me check. Okay, actually, Win Yi C cannot join today. Oh, Si Wen Yi cannot join today. And Zheng Yi Ling. Okay. Do you have an English name? JC. Okay, okay. JAYCEE, right? Okay. But sorry. That's I put the wrong. Okay. So could you write a few words? Okay. And Choi Ga Chun, not here yet. Hi, are you Choi Ga Chun? Oh yeah, Kimi. Sorry, Kimi. So do you still have credits to take the course, or you just want to audit?
No.
You don't have credits. You're running out of credit. Okay. All right. Kimi is not going to take the course, but she will join us to learn stuff because she wants to do her FYP on government and international studies, right? GIS. Okay. And then let's see. Yo Wei. Oh, okay, Yo Wei. And you are from PRA as well. Do you know Hero? You are from the same department, right? Okay, so you may consider forming a group then. Okay, but it's something you can consider. How about the Pearly? Hi, Pearly. You are from which department? English department. Okay, good. So yeah, please write a few words. Okay. Now,
Because I see that classmates from different levels to next to
Yes, so they don't have all the
all things that you
so you need the left button.
what do you mean?
because as you can see it at the last the corner. That corner.
Left corner.
I think she is there, but hello, Stella, can you hear me? I think I already. Oh, I'm using this computer. I'm not using that computer.
Okay.
So
It's on the screen and it doesn't matter.
yeah, it doesn't matter because I don't want this computer to have my voice. But it's funny because I didn't really offer the Zoom link to this student. I think she maybe just run. Let me ask. It's kind of funny. Okay. Anyway. Okay, so how about Yu Le is chemistry department, right? Okay. Anyway, yeah, please write a few words. Now, are we all on the same page? Do you guys have any questions? Kimi, do you know where we are?
Yeah.
Okay, good. So you can just help yourself, all right? Okay. Now, while you're introducing yourself, let me ask you this question, which is also related to your identity. So here's the question: what is the relationship between citizens and government? How would you describe this relationship between citizens and government? And that's very important for this course, right? Because this course, we learn to investigate government's policies and programs, all right? And before we do that, we need to consider this question. Now, there are a couple of options here. But then you can also write your own answers. You don't necessarily have to choose A, B, C, D, or you can choose A, B, C, D, and then you can also write your own answer. Would you consider government and citizen similar to parents and children, or teacher and students, or customers and service provider, or boss and worker, or anything else? Okay, now there are different options here. You can either just write some comments anywhere. Do you know how to add a comment? Just like select some words or even letter and then add a comment. Okay, so you can do that. Feel free to do that. Or you can just write here. But before you write some answers or whatever your mind, whatever in your mind here, you can mention yourself so I know who you are. Okay, so either way, please write comments or write some answers here after you write your self-introduction. Now, if you want to do what Hero was doing, you can also say, okay, slash, and then toggle list, and then you can put your name, blah, blah, blah. Okay, that's another option. 點啊？尖嘴而家向右。講多次。Oh, you mean this one? Oh, okay. Wow, it's cool. Because I use toggle all the time, because I feel like when you do toggle, it's like you can create a new space and then hide it, right? It's almost like creating a new world, a small world. But anyway, thanks for the tip. Okay, Choi, Hero Choi, call Joe in. Not here yet. Kate. You. Natalie Ma. Hi, Stella. What happened? Because I don't think I have anyone. Oh, I think it's the previous teacher who just left, and somehow her Zoom is still yeah, she didn't exit her Zoom. So that's why I'm actually using her Zoom account. That's why. Oh. So I thought it's like another student actually don't. So I go ahead and do. Doesn't really matter. Doesn't really matter.
Let's see the chat.
Yeah, that's me. Yeah. So how can I remove? Oh, I can't remove her because it's her account. So here. Okay, so how can I okay, for students who just arrived, may you know your name? Okay, now the first thing you need to do is to scan this code. So you will be able to join this page. Alternatively, I'm going to send this link to the WhatsApp group. Are you all in our WhatsApp group? Okay. All right, so and once you are here, then you can scroll down a little bit and you will be able to see your name. So you Yi, right? You are Yi and Xialing Yi. Okay. And you are both from chemistry. And Choi Ga-jun, right? You are also chemistry. Okay, you are three chemistry students. Great. Okay, good. So you should be able to find your name, and then please, under your name, please write a few words. Just introduce yourself. What do you expect to gain from taking this course? When you introduce yourself, you may consider connect this course to your discipline. Okay. Leo, you are from computer science,
Yes.
right? And year 3?
Yes.
Okay. Actually, in the other section, we also got a few computer science students. So we may consider working on a project together. And Jade is also from chemistry. Do you know them? Okay. Okay, maybe you can say hi. You're all from chemistry department. Because we could start forming groups, right? The funny thing is, the Thursday section, when I met with them yesterday, like on the name list, there's only 6 students. So I was saying, oh, well, maybe the session will be canceled, blah, blah, blah. But then today, like there are like 2 or 3 students left, but then a couple more join us. So now we have like Thursday session, we have like 8 students, but then maybe 2 or 3 more will join. So I think Thursday session will run as well. So, but I think this section should be okay. We have like 15 students or something. So more than enough to run. So you don't have to worry. So I think we have pretty much everybody here, right? Yeah, please do, everybody please write a few words. And after you write a few words, you can actually take a look at your classmates' answers. And you can reply, write a comment or whatever. Right. And if you have already finished answering the questions, maybe you can write a comments or write a few words here to answer this question, which is how would you describe the relationship between citizens and the government? For English majors, do you know you can get double counting? This course will count as your English major, towards your English major. I think it can both. It can fulfill both. So basically, as an English major, when you take this course, you can fulfill the GCAP requirement as well as your department, one of the major. Yeah. It means double counting, but exactly how it works, you have to ask around. But it's a good thing, okay? It's a good thing. Okay, remember, that's the most important thing to remember. It's a good thing. All right. Unfortunately, not for translation. But let me see. Okay, Natalie, do you want to write something here? Where's Natalie? Okay. Okay, yeah, feel free, okay. So Xingyu wrote something yesterday. Okay. So Jay, do you want to write a few more words? You just say you're from chemistry department. What would you like to gain from this course? Or if you want to join the discussion here, what's the relationship between citizens and government? That's also something you can discuss. Okay, so let me invite some students to just answer the question. How about JC? So what's your choice? Boy? Dog? Oh, C. Okay, customer and service provider. Okay, so could you explain your answer? Right, JC, right? So the keywords here is taxpayers. We're taxpayers. So the government is funded by us. All right. But do you know how much, what's the percentage of the Hong Kong government's revenue coming from the salary tax? Can you guess? Kimi, do you know? I think it's only about, well, 10 or 20%. You can do a quick check, okay? Government budget percentage. I think it's either 10% or 20%. So in other words, most of the money does not come from us as the salary earners, as kind of the employees. The money actually come from corporation profit tax or, selling lands and all that. So in other words, the taxpayer argument may not be that strong, given that we as wage earners, we're not contributing to the government budget to a great extent. But of course, you can still argue that the the corporations are also making money from us, right? So we as customers, so we kind of paying the tax indirectly. Okay. All right. Yeah, please do write a few words. Maybe you can continue to do that after the class meeting. All right. Okay, so the next thing I'd like to do is to go through the silo of this course. Okay, course intended learning outcome. Can you all come to this part and take a look? And feel free to add your comments if you have questions you like to ask. This is a good opportunity to do that. So the first silo is, by the end of this course, you should be able to synthesize and critically analyze data, information, viewpoints gathered from various stakeholders, including the Hong Kong government, NGOs, and the public regarding social problems, so as to develop and support actionable policy recommendations. Okay, so the starting point of this course is to identify a specific government program or policy. Okay, you are from PIA. I mentioned that mascot. So have you heard of Water Save Dave? So Water Save Dave is a mascot developed by the Water Supplies Department. So one project that a team from last semester did is to focus on this specific mascot and try to figure out to what extent this is being effective to achieve whatever goals that the government intends to achieve through this program. Okay, so that's the starting point. Of course, you can choose any other programs. There are over 70 bureaus and departments within the Hong Kong government, and they do all kinds of programs. So you can choose just one program or one policy. Now, the next step is to gather as much information as possible about that program. Now, the question for you is, if you are going to do research and try to get more information about the government program and policy, what would you do? What would you do? Yeah? Read the policy address. You mean you go to the government website? Okay, so go to the government website. That's one source. What else? Make a phone call. Yeah. Okay, ask the questions. Okay, that's possible. But remember, whatever they say on the phone, you can't really refer back to, right? You see what I mean? They can tell you anything, but then if you want to share that piece of information with someone else, you can't do that unless you record it. Yeah, but that's very complicated, because if you start recording a conversation, then people will ask you, do you have the consent or blah blah blah? You see what I mean? Yeah. Okay, but that's actually good. You know, at least you can directly contact the government. Anyone else? Yeah, you can email them. Now, before we talk about contacting the government, actually, there's a little trick I can show you. Because, like, for example, if you can just search for like water save Dave, right? Google. But then what if you put a site here? Okay. And what you could do is to, you see, if you put site column like this, computer science major, you must know this, right? That would tell Google to only search for the web pages end with this web address. Do you know what's this address? Anyone? It's the Legislative Council. It's not just the government, it's the lawmakers. Okay. So Legislative Council has got a website. If you search for Water Save Dave within the Legislative Council website, you only got 22 results. You see what I mean? So, and using this code, you will be able to identify all the documents within the Legislative Council website about the specific topic. Does it make sense? That can save us a lot of time, because comparing, looking at 22 results with, 74 million results, it's a huge difference. And you will be able to read some documents from Legislative Council. Okay, that's just one little trick you can learn. Now, Hero was talking about contacting the government directly by making a phone call, and Leo was talking about email them. So that's actually one of the key strategies we are going to learn in this course. It's called Code on Access to Information. Okay, so there's a notes here. Okay, so let me just come back. So Code on Access to Information is a legal framework that allows us to request information from the government. You can go to access.gov.hk, and from time to time you can see advertisements on MTR stations somewhere, and telling people, you can actually request information under the Code on Access to Information. Have you heard of that? Raise your hand if you heard of this before. Code on Access to Information, or 公開資料守則。有冇聽過？公開資料守則。Okay. Now, some people may heard of it, but very, very few people would actually use it to request information from the government. All right. Now, what I'm going to do is to play a short video. Let me see. I don't know whether my speaker is strong enough. I hope it's fine. But there's the captions anyway, so
take a guess. But we don't have to guess if it is transparent. You need no guesswork to get information from the government. The public can make requests for information under the Code on Access to Information.
我攞到呢個公共服務嘅資料啦。
喺公開透明嘅原則下，澳門會根據公開資料守則，盡量向市民提供資料。
如果唔能夠提供，都會解釋原因㗎。
Visit www.access.gov.hk to find out more.
Okay. So, this is one of the core components of this course. What set this course apart from other courses that has a research component is that, of course, we will also go to the internet and search for information online. We will go to the Legislative Council website, go to the government department website to find information. But then in addition to that, we will also request information from the government. And we're going to cite Code on Access to Information. But this 30-second video is actually not very useful, because the only thing they tell you is that there's this code and you can cite this. Well, they don't even tell you that you can cite this code. They only say there's this code and you can ask questions. And then even if the government does not provide you the answer, they will offer you explanation. But actually, there are other important points about this code which you cannot find in this video. And I call that knowledge gap. Why we say knowledge is power? Think about it. We say knowledge is power. It's because when you have more knowledge, you will become different. You will be able to do things that other people cannot. Okay, so knowledge will empower you, which is why people who are in the powerful position, they won't give you all the information. They want to hide information. Now, what information has been hidden? One important piece of information that's hidden is time frame. the government needs to reply provide an interim reply within 10 days. And then provide a full reply in 21 days. So these are information you won't be able to find it here. Another important piece of information is that if you are not happy with the answers, you can request for an internal review. And you can also submit a complaint to the ombudsman. You see what I mean? So this is the information that you won't be able to get. Of course, you have to, if you go to the web page, you go to this website, and if you look through the code, part 1, part 2, then you will probably find that clause saying that you can complain. But just watching this video won't give you that information. You see what I mean? And think about it, why? Why they make a video without providing crucial information, like what I just mentioned? Yeah, they don't want troublemakers, right? When you learn stuff, when you become more knowledgeable, you have the potential to become a troublemaker. You cause them trouble, okay? But think about it. Do you think causing some trouble for the government could be a good thing? Right? I mean, of course, we're not talking about, disrupts the public order, doing all those violent protests. What I'm saying is that, can we ask a couple of questions, right? And are you really doing a good job? You see what I mean? And I think this is what this course is about. In this course, we look at the work of the government and we ask questions. And based on their answers, we then write a critical review of the government's work. Okay. But then, of course, you may ask, so what? If you come up with some argument and saying that the government is not doing a good job, then what? What can you do next? How can you, share this argument with someone, with people, so that there will be impact, there will be pressure for the government? Now, that comes to the second really important part of this course, is we write letters to the editor in the South China Morning Post. Okay? And this palette, I can share it with you later, and you will probably be able to find the link in the Notion. This is a palette where you can find all the letters published by either by me or by my students. Now, there are two coding systems here. One is with the S118. So there's a total of 118 letters published by my students, a few by my colleague students, but mostly my students, 118. And 102, the number without the S, that's my letters. Okay, that's a letter authored by me or co-authored by me. So even today, we have a most recent letter published by my students. It's about esports. Okay. So one of the highlights of this course is that you will be able to publish a letter to the editor in the South China Morning Post. Now, letter to the editor is not a very prestigious genre. If you compare this, for example, with the op-ed, the opinion piece, the opinion piece is longer, and usually it's the experts who write the opinion pieces. But the threshold for opinion piece is much higher, I do write a few opinion pieces. Well, so far, to be more precise, I only wrote two opinion pieces. But from time to time, I do write opinion piece as well. So I also have an author page at SCMP. but so far I only published 2 pieces under opinion pages. So, but anyway, I think publishing letters can be helpful in terms of later on when you are being interviewed for a job, people asking you whether you can write, whether you are a good writer, then you can tell them, you know, I have experience of writing for the newspaper. Okay, and I've got 3 students who took this course before, and now they are they did their internship at South China Morning Post. Okay, so I'm pretty sure that when they apply for the job, they put in their CV the experience of you know, taking this course and write letters. Let me share with you the 3 students' profile. So I just shared with you through the WhatsApp group. There are 4 profiles. The first one is mine, but then the next 3 are my former students. So coming back to what we're trying to do here is we critically review the government's policy or program, and then we develop an argument about what the government can do to improve its work. And then we try to write a letter to the editor and publish it in the South China Morning Post. Now, a crucial question you might want to ask is, if I take the trouble to write a letter and send it to the newspaper, what if they do not publish it, right? So what's the acceptance rate for getting the letters accepted and published? Okay, now this is a fair question. And I can tell you, pretty much all the letters that I help edit eventually get published. Okay. Last semester, I got over 60 students taking the course. I offer 3 sections. So I'm a little bit kind of overwhelmed. So I still got about 10 letters I haven't finished editing. So it's still in the pipeline. So I promise that over the Chinese New Year holiday, I need to catch up and edit those letters, and hopefully they will be published. They will be sent, okay? And then there's like about 3 or 4 is still under review, okay? So the good news is that I'm quite confident that students taking this course, most of them will get their letters published. But of course, you know, the whole process needs a lot of guidance and supervision from me, all right? Starting from the very beginning, you have to make sure that you choose a good topic, all right? Right, so yeah, so basically I think the first silo pretty much summarized what we need to do. The second silo, collaborate with peers from multiple backgrounds and draw on research articles from multiple disciplines to develop wide-range insights into the discourses and power relations informing social problems facing Hong Kong and global society. Well, the second silo would highlight a different aspect of this course, which is we're trying to bridge the gap between the public and the academic community, right? We are in a university and we are part of an academic community. So let me ask you this. What is the main mission of universities? What is the main mission of universities?
I think that they will how to how
Provide guidance for whom?
government or for the company, for all the industry.
Well, to some extent, but I don't think the government would listen to university scholars.
It's supposed to. But if we are
Yeah,
doing
Yeah,
it
a little bit. Okay,
I do
right. Offer consulting services. That's something, but I don't think that's the main mission. Well, I think there are two missions of the university. Number one is to teach and to pass the knowledge to the future generation. But for that, it's not that different from the schools. But of course, universities are supposed to be more elite, right? So not everybody can come to university. But actually, the more important missions for university is to create new knowledge through doing research, right? So that's the point. That's the message I always tell the first year students when I teach UE1 and UE2. Because in UE1 and UE2, if you remember, we learn how to write papers, right? Or at least you learn how to practice academic writing. But then I asked them, why do we need to write academic papers? Actually, students don't have to write it. It's the professors, the scholars have to write. The reason why scholars have to write papers is because it's through the publication you can prove that you have created some new knowledge in your field. So you are an original researcher, you can contribute to the research community. But the problem with all the new knowledge being created in the form of academic paper is that those academic papers are not so accessible for general public, right? If you read an academic paper, like in Nature, Science, or any other good journals, all these papers are mainly written for experts, are written for people who, in the same field, in the same community. It's not for the layman, it's not for the general public. So that's why what I'm saying is that there's a gap between the academic community on the one hand and the public in the other, right? The public, they face problems, and maybe some insights from the paper can help us to solve the problem, but that insight is not accessible for the general public. Okay, so what we're going to do in this course is to bring the insights from the scholarship, from the research papers, and use that insight to help solve the problem. Now, I'm going to show you one article that's published today. Which is quite a good example of what I just said, how you can bring the insights from the research community to solve a problem. And I'm talking about this one right here. Kenny Lam. Now, this is a very interesting article because recently in a previous semester, one of the teams also wrote a letter on the same topic, which is on so this is a letter published by my students talking about Strive and Rise. You know Strive and Rise? Strive and Rise is a program that trying to help the underprivileged children, mostly from living in the subdivided flats. Now, Mr. Kenny Lam is also writing a piece on that, talking about Strive and Rise mentorship program. Now, if you scroll down this article, at some point, he is referring to the research. Research has illuminated the elements needed for a good mentorship program: first, second, finally. I always feel like anyone use first, second, finally means he's not a very good writer. At least not as advanced as I hope. You know, if you take my course, you know, one thing you should learn is not to use first, second, finally. Okay. Because in order to achieve coherence, you should try to make the transition more natural. Okay. Whenever you use first, second, finally, that means the pieces, the information is not coming together in a natural way. But anyway, my point here is that actually, it's very common for newspaper writers to actually refer to the research insights. And that's something we try to do as well. Okay. And of course, when we have students from different backgrounds, we can learn from each other. Recognize and evaluate value principles in public discourse so as to make more informed and knowledgeable decisions. Yeah, so that's something we can discuss a bit later. Value principles, that's more about, you know, some of the strategies for developing arguments. And apply knowledge and insights gained from research activities by writing for the public as informed citizens, scholars, via newspaper articles, reports to the Hong Kong government, and legislative council, and also social media campaigns. Okay, so once we have all the arguments developed on different social issues, then we can try to share these arguments in different forms. Letters to the editor is by far, so far, the most important and impactful outcome of this course. But we're also looking at other possibilities, you know, not just the writing letters, but there are other ways to share our arguments. And one of them I'd like to discuss a little bit is the Legislative Council one. So just to make sure that we're all on the same page, can you click on this link? Can you join this link? So if you click on this link, you can find another note in Notion, which talks about we can actually engage the Legislative Council. All right. So and one thing that you can do is to submit a document to the Legislative Council. So here's an example. Now, pay attention to the link here. The link of this document. This is actually in the website of the Legislative Council. Okay, so this is not your Facebook post or LinkedIn article. It's Legislative Council. And this paper is coming from one of my students working with another, well, it's my friend's daughter at Hong Kong U. So they work together and they publish a letter to the editor. So this is the letter here. Okay. And once they published the letter, then they wrote to the panel on transport of the Legislative Council to basically summarize the argument. And then we emailed the panel and asked them to put it on the website. Okay. Now this is very common. Actually, a lot of NGOs, a lot of people who want to advocate for different things, they do it all the time. They just send an email to the panel, whatever panel that you want to target. And usually the panel get a document, will post it online. Okay, so this is actually not a very difficult thing to do. The only difficulty is that you need to learn the trick. You need to know that actually you can do it, right? As long as you know you can do it, then you do it, right? Now that's actually another option when it comes to creating impact of your work. because once this document is become kind of part of the legislative council documents, then somehow it gets a little bit more like status, right? It's not really that important. It's not really official document, but it is part of the official website. But then, of course, another thing you might want to consider is you want to make this document look a bit nicer, right? Because this is very plain. What if you create an infographic, you know, make this document look really nice? So PR students, maybe you should consider doing that, or create a template. Now, the good news is that Canva, you know Canva, right? Canva recently introduced a new feature. It's called Canva Docs. All right. Because usually we use Canva to design the posters, right? Design some graphics. But now you can use it to create a document, just like Word document. But of course, it's going to be multimodal. You're going to be heavily using different images or whatever. Okay. So imagine if you use this tool to design and create a visual document, and then you send it to the Legislative Council, right? That would look much nicer. You see what I mean? Actually, I think someone did it already. I'm working with another team. I remember that is a friend from Shenzhen. So actually, he's a visual designer. So we did that. Let me see if I can find it. So let's take a short break, maybe 5 minutes, and I will try to find that document for you, so you can take a look. Hero， 你哋 PR 嘅同學會唔會即係有冇學呢啲即係 visual design 呢啲嘢？係嘛？即係你哋冇 course 教，都有 course 嘅。你哋咧？你哋有冇啊？ 有啲咩啊？
呢個可以打。
即係唔係你哋 department 嘅 core course 嚟嘅？咁係邊度 offer？commute 嘅 offer。
應該係 IN 第二個地方。
哦。Okay, you guys have any question about the silos of this course? Sometimes when you write the silos, you have to consider the expectation of the reviewer of the course proposals, right? So you have to write it in a way that sounds really like a lot of different stuff. But if I just want to summarize this course in one sentence, it would be to investigate the government's programs and policy, and then write or develop arguments on how they can improve. Okay, so in a way, the nature of this course would means that we are troublemakers to some extent. Okay, we are troublemakers. But I do believe that what we're doing is actually within the realms of legal activities, because we are dealing with the government in a transparent way. We're using the existing legal framework, Code on Access to Information, right? So there's nothing that would what we do would be in any way, what violate things like national security law or whatever, right? Because we are writing letters to the government requesting information, and we're not threatening the order or the normal operation of the government. Okay, and even within the Code on Access to Information, there's the clauses saying that if our request would cause too much manpower for the government, then the government has the right to refuse to not to provide the information. Okay, so rest assured that even though what we're doing can be somewhat embarrassing to the government departments or bureaus, we are definitely not doing anything illegal or unethical. Okay, and actually I'm very proud of what we're doing. If you look at all the letters that we published, there's a lot of insights. There's a lot of strong arguments in terms of how the government can do a better job. But the only thing that I feel a bit regrettable is that the government is not listening, or at least they're not listening that much. Okay, I can offer you one example. This was a letter published. I think the students were taking the course in the fall. Yeah, sometimes it's easier just to. I think there's this. Yeah. So there's this letter about Hong Kong spending on cancer screening practice needs review. So if you you can quickly take a look at this letter. So basically, the government has got a program that allow anyone over 55 years old or something, or 50 years old, actually anyone over 50 years old can join the program to get the screening for colon cancer. Okay, so the money that would cost this is over 700 million Hong Kong dollars. Okay, but you may ask why it's so expensive. It's because anyone who joined the program, before they can have their stool sample to be screened for colon cancer, they have to see the doctor. Okay, to see the doctor, to talk to the doctor for a few minutes before they can take the test. And that would cost, well, the doctor will charge 280 Hong Kong dollars. Now, we did a bit of research. We found that in other countries, like Canada, Netherlands, and UK, you don't have to see a doctor. You can get all the testing kit and everything mailed to you. And then you mail your sample back to do the testing, which is clearly much less expensive. So now we are talking about 700 million Hong Kong dollars. Now, the good news, remember, there's a good news. The good news is that we, the Hong Kong people, we are not stupid. We're not going to see a doctor and allow the government to pay them 200 something just to do a test. So the percentage, the participation rate of this program is only 7.5%, which means this 700 something million dollars being earmarked for this program is actually still sitting there. You see what I mean? And this letter was published in 2021. It's like 1.5 years ago. Unfortunately, nobody is listening to us. You know, if I mean, anyone who have some sense after reading this, they should say, let's review it. Why you spend so much money and to, you know, ask the doctors to see the patient when the patient does not have to see a doctor, right? If you spend the money to do something else, you see what I mean? I mean, you can just give them $50 Hong Kong dollars voucher or whatever, right? And then everybody will come and do it. You see what I mean? So, I mean, I'm just offering one example. I'm very proud of what we have done through this course. Which is why I always feel a little bit disappointed in the sense that a lot of students are still not aware of this course, you know. Because what we do create impact to some extent, okay. But of course, you know, just like this example can also be used against the course and saying you take all the trouble, do the make the argument and blah blah blah, but the government is not listening, right? Well, in a way, I feel like we can follow up on this. You see what I mean? We can try to spread the message and try to tell more people about this. You know, we should be able to write email to every single newspaper and TV station and radio station in Hong Kong, and write to every single NGOs that advocate for cancer patients, all the public health organization. You know, keep writing to different lawmakers, keep writing to the government departments, keep writing more letters to the newspaper. So I think we should do that, because we shouldn't end a project with a letter. The letter should be a starting point instead of the end. All right. But unfortunately, you know, we are working on many different projects. We still need to figure out a way to create more impact for this kind of projects. But you can get a sense of what kind of projects we're doing and how it can at least has the potential to create more impact. So imagine if somebody, you know, somebody in the senior management of the government read this letter and take it seriously, then this money could be released, can be used to do other things to create more value. Okay. So yeah, so that's just one example. Now, I will talk a little bit about assessment of this course, which is obviously very important. Sometimes I get feedback from the students at the end of the semester saying that they don't understand the assessment very clearly, okay? And there's confusion or whatever. So I try my best to clarify at the very beginning of the course, how you will be assessed. And the starting point would be the overall composition. So 25% would be the argumentative research paper. And you can click on the link to know more. But basically, to work on group projects, the group size would be 2 to 4, but I think 2 is probably the best. Well, the South China Morning Post can publish letters with up to 3 co-authors. So in other words, you could potentially form a group of 3 and then you can publish 1 letter. But I think I would still recommend just 2 people as a group. Or if you want to form a group of 4 people, then you have to do more work. You need to publish 2 letters. Okay, but you also need to write this argumentative research paper, which you can then, based on this argumentative research paper, you can publish your letter, because the letter is much shorter. Okay, and then for the community engagement portfolio, which counts for 50%, you actually need to break it down into 3 parts. The first part being engage the government. So that's the process of writing letters, request information from the government. And at the end, you may also engage the legislative council, right? And write for the newspaper. So in a way, writing for the newspaper and writing the argumentative research paper, they are very closely connected, okay? And then engage the wider community. Students should reach out to the wider community through networking in LinkedIn. Okay, so LinkedIn is actually a very powerful platform. I would encourage and expect all of you to register at LinkedIn. And hopefully we can create more pressure for the government to seriously consider the recommendations. Again, going back to this letter, I still feel like this is a very strong argument. So what we should do is really kind of consider how we can create more impact or noise, so the government can seriously consider this argument. Okay. But I will provide you more information in due course. You can check out the link. If you have any question, just let me know. Well, these 2 items for assessment, they are both group work. So you work as a group, but you will be individually assessed, which means I will have to look at what you have done in the group work. Okay, you have to document that very clearly. So the grade you get could be different from your group members, even though you are submitting the same piece of work. Okay, so I think that would be more fair. And then the reflective learning journal would be your individual work, 25%. I would encourage you to write comments and respond to what I have to say throughout the course in Notion. And then at some point, you're going to curate all your comments, all your thoughts and writing together into one page. And that's where that will be your reflective learning journal. Okay. When we meet next week, I will create some space for you to work. There's a group workspace, and then there's the individual workspace. So because this is still at drop period, I don't want because some students may come and go, so maybe we need to settle first before we form the groups and everything. We can take our time. Okay, no worry. So any questions about assessment? Now, whenever you have questions about assessment, you can just add a comment. Okay, add a comment, and then you can mention me. Okay, add a comment and then mention me. So that will be a good way to further discuss. Okay, now let's move on. We're going to explore some topics for this course. So we've got a database here. There's a database. Can you all come to this place? There's a database. And if you open the link, you will be able to see most of the letters are here. The most recent one, like the one published today, is not yet in the database. And if you open the database, you can open one of the document, you will be able to access this letter here. Okay. Now, one thing I'm going to teach you today, it's about the Notion operation, but I think it will be quite useful, is I'd like you to know how to mention a page. Do you know what I mean? Mention a page. So how do you do that? So maybe let's say this is the student's space. Okay. And I can do a quick demo here. Okay, so how do you mention a page? Well, it can be any pages, like any of the letters here would be a page, right? So suppose I want to mention World Cup. Okay, so all I have to do is just type @ and then World Cup, and then you see the pages here. So you select it, now you mention the page. Okay, so what I'd like you to do now is each of you can go through the database here just to look at the title and see if there's one letter you find particularly interesting. Please then mention that letter here. Now, because this is a space for everybody, the first thing you want to do is to mention yourself. So I know that it's you are writing. Okay. So for example, if I mention myself, I put Simon here. So that's me. And then I say, I'd like to analyze a particular letter like this one. Okay. So yeah, please go ahead and do that. Yeah, browse through the letter that we have published. My student and I have published. Pick one that you find most interesting and mention it. Jade, you can try mention yourself. You know how to do that? Just put at and then put your name, write your name, then you can find your mention yourself. Okay, Jade is here, Hero is here, Natalie is here, Pearly is here. Who else? Can you all mention your name? And then mention one page. Yeah. What's your name? Pearly. Oh, okay. Well, let me see, because there might be, the reason could be I did not, because I did not add all your email to the, I did not add your email to this page. You can't copy and paste, you just type. You just type. No. Let me see. So can anyone do it? Everybody has difficulty. If everybody has difficulty, it could be because, okay, here's another way to do it. Because, well, of course, I will later invite you to the page. But one thing you can do is just open a document and then click share. Go to share here and then copy the web link. Can you try to do that? Copy the web link and then click the web link and then you will have the option to mention the page. This might work. Could you try that? Yeah, okay. Yeah, that might be easier. Because you are not one of the editors, or so technically you don't have access to that database other than as a visitor. So that's probably the reason why you cannot mention by search. Because when you type mention and when you type some text or keywords, the search range is only the database or whatever you can access. You see what I mean? Computer science students should be able to explain. Yeah, so please use the link. Use the link, then you can do it. Not the SCMP link, Esther. The link from the page. Not this SCMP link, but go to share. There's the copy web link here. The web link of that.
So which directory are we in right now?
You mean analyze? You mean selecting a letter? At this stage, it's just your intuition. Go through the titles and pick one that you find most interesting. Okay. At some point, I will make a few suggestions in terms of what projects we're going to do. You know, before we leave, you know, I will offer you a couple of ideas. Question? Any question? Okay, now I'm going to demonstrate how we can analyze a letter. Okay. So what do you mean by analyze a letter? What do I mean by analyze a letter? Now, if you just read a piece of article, you are trying to understand it, right? If you understand it, you know what it means. You know what the author is trying to say. That's about it, right? So that's just reading. Now, analyzing is different because when we analyze, we try to identify some features in that article, okay? And there are many different features you can identify. Whenever you identify a feature of an article, you are trying to analyze it a little bit. So what I'm going to do is to offer you a database of all the features. So I'm going to create a toggle here. I'm not using your trick. Takes time. So what I'm going to do is I will create a new view. So you will be able to see there are different features that we can analyze. So the one that we are going to focus on is propose a change in policy. Okay. So SCMP feature, propose a change in policy. I'm mentioning that page. All right. So now you may have a similar issue, which is you may not be able to access this page. So what I'm going to do is I will provide a link. So you can copy the link and you should be able to mention. Okay, so just copy the link. Okay, later on you can do it. Now, how do I analyze? How do I analyze my letter? So what I'm going to do is I will go to the letter that I'm going to analyze. Okay, so I go to this letter. Because I don't want to. Okay. So I come to this letter. And I read through it. So I will be able to find a place where I make the change. So actually someone else did it already. So I will just do a demo. So maybe I'll resolve this. Okay, so this is where I'm proposing the change. So I will just comment it. So the first thing I do, I will copy the whole thing. I'll copy the whole sentence. And then I add a comment here. So this is where the author proposed a change. So I just copy the whole thing and then italicize it. Now be careful, if you hit the enter now, the comment will be finished. Okay. So instead of hit comment, you have to hit shift comment. Shift enter or shift return. Now you can mention that page, which is propose a change. Now in your case, it could be just a link. And then you can write a few words. So think about this change. What kind of change is it? So it's actually to upgrade, or maybe we shouldn't use the word upgrade, to adopt an alternative technology to deliver information. Okay, just write a few words to describe what kind of change it is. Now you have a comment. Okay. Now you can see the comment is being made to the place where a change is being proposed. And then in the comment, we actually mention that page. Now here comes the most exciting part. When it comes to analyzing the letter, what you can do is to copy the link to the discussion. And then I can I can paste it. Now, when I paste it, I will choose paste as a preview. Okay, so that means if I click more, I will be able to see the comment here. You see what I mean? I can also go to propose a change, and I can put the comment here as well. So the point is, whenever you add a comment somewhere, you can actually copy the link of that comment and then paste it in a different place. Okay, so why do you want to do that? It's actually, you can create a different context for that discussion, because the original context is to give a comment to some text. So that's the original context. But now if you add all the comments, and it could be not just one comment, it could be multiple people, interacting, discussing an issue. Now we're going to bring that discussion, the entire discussion, to a different context. You might be writing a report. You might be, having a meeting with someone else. There's different meeting notes. Now you can bring one discussion from one context and shift it to a different context. And that's very powerful, because context matters, right? When you bring some information from one context to another, you are creating value, or at least you have the potential to create value. In a way, it's very similar to citation. You see what I mean? Why we cite articles all the time? It's because you put the information from one context, from one article, and then bring it to a different context in a different article. When you do that, you create new meaning, new message, new information, and value. Okay, so I'm not sure. I think we still have time, so please do try. Give it a try. Okay. Is this something wrong? I think that that section was gone. Somebody accidentally delete something. Okay, hold on. I think I can. I have to I have to go back because you have to be very careful. This see that's the that's one thing we have to be very careful about, which is people can accidentally delete things. Can you undo what you did? Because that might be easier if you can undo. Because if I am going to because I can only go back to 450 or something. Yeah, you see, if I go back to 451, that's the earliest version I can get. Oh, okay. Now it's back. Okay, good. Good. Thank you. Yeah, as long as it's not malicious change, I think it should be okay. We can always recover. But there's always a risk there because everybody's editing. Okay, so everybody please, I think for Yu Le Yi, you should mention the page in the Notion, not the SMP one. I mean, I can help you mention it, but try mention that. But actually, that's not the one, right? You are so Le Yi, you are actually looking at a different one. Not the first letter, right? Do you know how to mention the Notion page instead of the SCMP letter page? So the food waste one. Now, what you could do, of course, I mean, I can do it, but I can mention the page for you. But what you could do is to copy the Notion page Yeah, but I'm doing it now, so you can. Does everybody pick a letter already? Well, I mean, we could, I think the next step would be, for you to add a comment and everything, but maybe we can do it later. I mean, you can try to do it at home, because I want to spend some time talking about some of the projects, that you can work on. Okay. So, because I don't want to keep you until 6:20. Maybe we can finish a bit early. Okay, so please everybody come to this place where we are talking about the topics and projects that students taking this course can pursue. Now there's a database here, and right now we've got 7 ideas. Okay, so we have another section on Thursday. I haven't heard from them. So, I mean, in terms of which topic to pursue, so I think we can settle this a bit later. My intention here is just to give you some ideas, but I'm not saying that you necessarily have to pick any of this. If once you form your group, you want to pursue a different project or ideas, just let me know. There are a couple of possibilities. One is to look at the letters that have been published by me or by my students and to build upon that project. Okay. But then you need to talk to me. I can then decide whether that choice is actually feasible, because some topics will be much easier than others to do a project. Another possibility is if you go to some of the government website and you look at a specific program that the government is working on, and you can try to review it. Okay, that's another possibility. And then the third possibility is to pick one of the ideas that I suggest here. So let's begin with the first one, use hostile scheme. Now for this one, can you all come to this page? Use hostile scheme. Now, I was talking about this yesterday, so I don't want to repeat myself. So I'm going to just very quickly play this bit of the video. Okay. The first one is about use hostile scheme. Now, use hostile scheme is an idea that I just identified recently. One way to identify ideas for investigation is just to read the newspaper. So this is a letter that was published very recently. Can you all read this letter? If you come to this page right here, you can read the letter. Okay. And how can you access this page? Is from the database. From this, okay, use hostile scheme. Okay. It seems like, okay. The first one is about use hostile scheme. Now, use hostile scheme is an idea that I just identified recently. One way to identify ideas for investigation is just to read the newspaper. So this is a letter that was published very recently is talking about the price adjustments to boost the youth hostel scheme. So what is youth hostel scheme? Well, I don't know, I haven't read much, but I can tell you the context of the scheme is the youth development blueprint. Recently, the government. Okay, so basically, well, you can read through this, all right? So basically, the idea is that, actually, the whole youth development blueprint can be something you can look into, because this is a fairly recent document. The government just released it a few weeks ago. Now that document has got many different components, all right? And one of them is about hope. So if you read this document, it says there's 4 chapters of the youth development scheme, and each chapter has got a theme like exploration, hope, empowerment, and contribution. And under each, there's different bullet points. Now, the hostel places, increasing supply of youth hostel places is one of the items under hope. Okay, so in other words, you have one option, which is to work on this particular project, and then you have quite a number of different options, because basically each of the bullet point here, even one phrase within that bullet point can be a project. You see what I mean? Okay, so that's quite important. And then the next one is promoting I Am Smart. Have you heard of I Am Smart? An app that has the potential to eventually, well, at least that's my vision, eventually to replace the Hong Kong ID card. Okay, so I think there's another YouTube video I can share with you. What? Oh. See, that's why I should. But it doesn't really affect the broadcast, right? So promote I'm Smart. I think there's a video there. So perhaps you can just check out. If this is something you are interested, you can check that out. But I would say I Am Smart is quite a promising project, especially if you are coming from computer science background. Because it requires a lot of integration between this system and all the other systems across the board, different governments, programs, different private corporations. So please do check this out. Second project that you might pursue is to promote I Am Smart. Okay, so I will leave it for you to check this out. The third project is about intangible heritage. Have you heard of intangible cultural heritage? 非物質文化遺產。Okay, so this would be a project that you can also work on. especially if you come from like English or translation background. Okay. Because in a way, the mission of like this particular government program, the Intangible Cultural Heritage Office, is to promote the intangible cultural heritage in Hong Kong. But then part of the mission is to share the stories to the international audience. So there's a little bit translation involved, not just to translate the text from one language to another, but to tell the story to a multicultural background audience. So this would be another project. Now, tree management. Tree management is a project which is an idea I just picked up recently. So there's another video here. And I took this picture. Can you recognize where I took the picture? It's outside the Baptist hospital, right? Outside the Baptist. I was walking by and then look at, oh, there's a QR code. You know, whenever I see a QR code, I scan it. You can actually scan it. So this is if you scan the QR code, you will access a page. There's information about the tree. But more importantly, once you reach this page, you will find actually there's a whole section within the Development Bureau. There's a team of people, a team of government staff trying to build a database of trees in Hong Kong with all these tags. Okay, and the one thing that people can do is if you find a tree that's being damaged or have some, you know, bad condition or whatever, you can actually report it. Okay, so this is the government's attempt to maintain and try to manage all the trees in Hong Kong. Now, once you know there's a section in the Development Bureau to do that, you can start asking questions, right? So how many tags have been, you know, attached to the trees? What's the percentage, right? And how many people are actually using the QR code to access information, to contact the government to help? And given all the information that the government has, how can these resources be used to promote STEM education in Hong Kong, to engage the community? You see what I mean? So there's actually a lot of things you can do just focusing on the tree management in Hong Kong. This is the website. So this is actually the QR code would lead you to this page. And you can see they actually offer opportunity for you to report problem trees. So the immediate question you can ask is, you can ask the government is how many reports have been received from the public? Because that's how you can evaluate the impact of this kind of program, how effective this program is. But then if you go to the website, greening.gov.hk, so this is the under Development Bureau, Greening Landscape and Tree Management section. Is the whole section working on this. So there are actually different programs, you know, purpose and objectives, blah, 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 and community outreach. Just pick even one small program, you can already do a project. So just this section, you know, there could be multiple projects to be done. You see what I mean? But of course, it depends on your interest. I think this is probably more suitable for like biology major. But then, of course, if you are a computer science major, you can consider, you know, how to manage big data. Because managing data about trees in Hong Kong is not a small task. It involves some pretty complicated algorithms, and you know, it could be, you know, data analytics and everything. Okay, so that's another idea, which I think is quite promising. Now the next idea is about. I think I should change this because it's really not Census and Statistics Department. It's a Department of Health. So I should have done that earlier. Okay, so it's the Department of Health data collection strategies. Now, Huan Rui Chen, he took my course before. Now he's helping me. He's a final year student. He's actually from social science, but he wants to do a master's degree in data analytics. So recently he's working with me and asked me to write a recommendation letter for him. Anyway, he wrote some notes here. And I also put some video notes here you can check out. Now, the basic idea of this course, this project, is to look at one specific set of data released by the Department of Health. Now, this whole website is called data.gov.hk. Have you heard of this before? Data.gov.hk. Now, if you're a computer science major, you better learn about it, because there's a huge, enormous number of opportunities, different projects you can do with this. But anyway, this is a data portal which all the different government bureaus and departments, they release data through this portal, okay? Now, this particular set of data is estimated total and per capita alcohol consumption in Hong Kong. The problem with this data, this data set, is that it hasn't been updated since the COVID pandemic, or maybe even earlier. You see this 2017. There's no more updates. Now, if you want to do this project, then you will have to investigate how this data has been used, because the Department of Health collected the data. So the Department of Health has actually got a team to deal with alcohol abuse. It's a public health concern. So you can look into that, and Huan Rui can help us, because Huan Rui knows a little bit more about data collection and everything. So we can start examining what's wrong with the data collection approaches that leads to basically the suspension of all the data release. After the COVID, we're almost done. We're almost getting out of the pandemic. But during these 3 years, no more data. Okay, so that could be a specific project. Now, the last two, I think maybe three. There's another project I want to briefly discuss, and then we're done. Now this one is about e-health. So anyone using e-health? Anyone has e-health app in your phone? Anyone? No? 醫健通有冇聽過? I think 醫健通 has become much more popular in recent years, because it seems like everybody who have to do the vaccination have to use this, or I think basically whoever go to take a shot, they will ask you whether you want to join e-health, right? So if you check the latest number, like the number of people who use the e-health, then you will probably get some new data. But what I can tell you is that I've been monitoring and studying this system since it was launched, back in 2016. I've been following the development of this project. And then later on, I led some students team to investigate this project. And this project has got a lot of problems, just like most of other projects and programs in the Hong Kong government, done by the Hong Kong, it's a lot of problems. If you look more closely, for example, very few private doctors enrolled in the scheme, enrolled in the system. Okay, but actually the government has a lot of options if they want to promote it among the private doctors. One simple thing they can do is, look, if you want to get a health voucher, you better join the e-health, right? How can you use my money? How can you use the government's money if you don't support my program? You see what I mean? As simple as that. So if you're interested in e-health, try this, consider this program, okay? I think it will be very promising. Now, the second last one, because I have another one I want to share with you. The second last one I'd like to discuss is again, it's the open data portal, which is the portal which that I discussed earlier. But this time I'm going to look at the applications. So there are over 70 government departments and bureaus in Hong Kong. But then among all the government department bureau and department and bureaus, all the data that has been released, there's only 37 applications. Okay, maybe I should take a step back. The question you have to ask first is, why does the government have this data portal in the first place? Why does the government require all the different departments and bureaus to release data on a regular basis? It's because this data could be used by the community to create more value. And all these 37 applications are the platforms where the data can be used to serve the community. So I won't get into the details, but my suggestion is your team can pick just one application, anyone that you find interesting, like Hong Kong beach water quality. So look into this app and figure out how this app is using the data from the government to serve the community. And then you can start asking a host of questions, such as how many people are using the app? What kind of impact this app is creating with the government's data? What if the government is willing to provide more data? Can this app be improved? You see what I mean? So asking these questions, then you'll be able to find out actually there's problems with this app, there's the problems with the data sources and a lot of problems. And one problem I can see right away is that they only have the Android version of the app. They don't have the iOS version, which suggests this team is underfunded, right? They don't have the money to develop the iOS version. And another possibility is because this app is not very useful, right? If the app is useful, they should be able to find resources to develop iOS version, okay? Now, the last project idea I want to share before you go is a huge one. And again, that would be something which we can basically, you know, I would say it may take 5 years to do all the projects. And we call this, well, this is not my this is actually one of the government's programs. Have you heard of this? Member self-recommendation scheme. No. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I will stop recording